Hello everyone, I'm Yazan Ibrahim, or as some of you might know me, yazan.abogosh. Today we're going to dive into a fascinating and essential topic from Chapter 5, Protection of Information Assets. Part B, Security Event Management 5.17 Evidence Collection and Forensics. If you are a seasoned auditor or just curious to understand how information systems into business environments, you've come to the right place. Let's begin. When a traditional crime is committed, investigators can often draw upon centuries of established methods for evidence collection, fingerprints, witness testimonies, physical DNA. But when the crime happens in the virtual realm, the rules of engagement change dramatically. Computer crimes, often invisible and silent, represent a modern frontier of forensic investigation. Let's explore this intricate and fascinating world where bytes replace footprints, and a single corrupted file can mean the difference between catching a perpetrator and an unsolved mystery. The unseen reality of computer crimes. Computer crimes often operate in the shadows, undetected by their victims. In many cases, a crime is never reported because it hasn't been recognized, or worse, because the victimized organization fears the potential fallout of going public. Imagine a company discovering that its secure customer data has been stolen. It grapples with two competing instincts: to investigate and possibly bring the perpetrator to justice, or to quietly patch the vulnerability, hoping to avoid plummeting public trust and the accompanying storm of negative publicity. This highlights a stark reality. Even when computer crimes are uncovered, they remain shrouded in silence more often than not. There's yet another layer to this dilemma. In many parts of the world, legal systems are still playing catch-up with the challenges of prosecuting digital crimes. Laws that were initially designed to safeguard physical property often struggle to match the nuances of cybercrimes, and while some jurisdictions have made strides to modernize their laws, the tools, expertise, and investigative procedures needed to enforce them are often scattered or poorly understood. The unseen reality of computer crimes often operate in the shadows, undetected by their victims. In many cases, a crime is never reported because it hasn't been recognized, or worse, because the victimized organization fears the potential fallout of going public. Imagine a company discovering that its secure customer data has been stolen. It grapples with two competing instincts: to investigate and possibly bring the perpetrator to justice, or to quietly patch the vulnerability, hoping to avoid plummeting public trust and the accompanying storm of negative publicity. This highlights a stark reality. Even when computer crimes are uncovered, they remain shrouded in silence more often than not. There's yet another layer to this dilemma. In many parts of the world, legal systems are still playing catch-up with the challenges of prosecuting digital crimes. Laws that were initially designed to safeguard physical property often struggle to match the nuances of cybercrimes, and while some jurisdictions have made strides to modernize their laws, the tools, expertise, and investigative procedures needed to enforce them are often scattered or poorly understood. Enter computer forensics, a modern investigative discipline. This is where computer forensics comes into play, a crucial, methodical process aimed at identifying, preserving, analyzing, and presenting digital evidence in a legally acceptable manner. Picture a surgeon meticulously examining a patient. Not a single movement can be rushed or taken lightly. Similarly, forensic investigators delve into the digital remains of an incident to uncover the truth, piecing together fragmented data to explain what happened. But computer forensics goes beyond simply finding evidence. It seeks to answer key questions. Did the attack really occur? What was accessed and how? And importantly, can the evidence be preserved in such a way that it remains credible before a court of law? Digital evidence can take almost any form. A mysterious file timestamp, logs from a firewall, the contents of volatile system memory, or unsecured data siphoned off to a remote location. However, these forms of evidence share one critical requirement: they must unerringly prove that they have remained untampered with. This is ensured through what experts call the chain of custody. The chain of custody, a pillar of trust. Imagine an unbroken thread running through an investigation, meticulously recording every interaction with a piece of digital evidence. This is the essence of the chain of custody, a framework for documenting the who, how, and when of evidence handling. Why is this so important? Because while digital data may be intangible, its authenticity and reliability are critical in a court of law. Every transfer, duplication, or analysis must be recorded so that no part of the evidence's journey is ambiguous or open to scrutiny. Otherwise, the digital artifact, no matter how compelling it might be, could be dismissed as unreliable. For example, if an internal auditor boots up a compromised computer to examine its contents, the simple act of initiating the boot sequence could modify evidence on the hard drive. Even something as seemingly insignificant as a time log could become inadmissible if this process isn't tightly controlled, meticulously documented, and verified by independent parties. To maintain this standard, forensic investigators rely on specialized tools and protocols. Instead of accessing a suspected system directly, imaging techniques are used to create exact, bit-for-bit copies of the data. This ensures investigators can dig deep into the information, analyzing deleted files, deciphering corrupted data, and more, without disturbing the original evidence. From collection to analysis, piecing together the puzzle computer forensics involves several key steps to transform raw data into actionable insights. First, investigators must identify and retrieve valuable information without compromising its integrity. Delicate tools like write blockers protect storage devices while allowing for analysis. Once data is captured, particularly volatile memory, RAM, which holds fleeting real-time information like open ports or active user processes, becomes especially vital. These volatile traces are among the first to disappear if systems are shut down improperly. Next comes the process of imaging, where the forensic team creates an exact duplicate of the original data for analysis. This method leaves the original untouched and serves as the bridge to advanced analysis. With the data securely in hand, investigators dive into extraction, where they sift through logs, audit trails, system records, and dumps of network activity. This process may reveal hidden relationships, an unfamiliar IP address connecting to the victim's server at odd hours, or deleted email messages pointing to a larger scheme. These raw connections are examined through interrogation and normalization to translate unintelligible binary or hexadecimal code into human-readable formats. Patterns emerge, a timeline of events, a map of suspicious correlations, and with them, a hypothesis of how the incident unfolded. Presenting the case, the story evidence tells the job doesn't end with discovery. The most vital step in computer forensics is presenting the findings in a way that is clear, convincing, and impervious to misinterpretation. Whether the audience is management deciding on an internal response or a courtroom jury deciding a verdict, the presentation of evidence needs to inspire confidence. Forensic reports must rigorously document the investigation and effectively communicate the key questions. What happened, how was it discovered, and what conclusions were drawn? The reliability of the case hinges not just on the data itself, but on how it was handled, processed, and interpreted. A misstep in the writing or presentation can unravel even the strongest investigative efforts. A high-quality forensic report meets several key criteria. It must clearly outline hard evidence while remaining easy to understand for decision makers. It must articulate conclusions based on evidence, without leaving room for ambiguity, and withstand the legal scrutiny of opposing attorneys. Above all, it must tie the threads together into a cohesive narrative, one that simultaneously tells a factual story and leads to actionable outcomes. Safeguarding evidence, a responsibility, not an option. The steps to protect digital evidence begin the moment an incident is discovered. Even the simplest decisions like rebooting a machine or accessing a suspicious file can jeopardize the integrity of everything that follows. To prevent this, organizations must instill a culture of preparedness, with protocols for immediate response and investments in forensic tools and training. More importantly, organizations should proactively establish secure infrastructures and reliable incident handling processes. While no system is immune to cyber attacks, preparedness can mean the difference between disorder and decisive action when it matters most. Computer forensics bridges technology, law, and investigation in what is often a high-stakes race against time and obfuscation. With exacting precision, it transforms data into stories and suspicions into evidence, one byte at a time. Thank you for watching, and as always, continue learning. Stay curious, and we'll see you next video.